Hey guys, welcome to the Rookerville podcast. This episode we talk about MTV's The Challenge Battle of the Exes 2. We'll break down the whole season, talk about our favorite parts, our least favorite parts, our favorite people, our least favorite people. We even dive a little into the real world and Are You the One as we look towards the future. Enjoy. Talk about the season. I think it was one of the better seasons.
I agree. I think based on what it had going against it, it ended up being one of the better seasons. When you have two people die before your show premieres, you're kind of up against it.
And I think you could see that how they kind of tried to bury the season by playing it at 11 p.m.
Right.
And they never play it in tandem with Real World, but they did.
Right. Which sucks for another reason, because now we have this drought where we're not getting another Real World for at least 6-7 months now, and we're definitely not getting another challenge until probably another 9 months from now.
Did the Real World get renewed, by the way?
Yeah, the Real World stays getting renewed.
I'm not sure, because I saw that it wasn't renewed yet, not so long ago, like I said.
Pretty sure it is, because this season did super well. I don't know where they go from here with the format, considering now they're all about surprising people.
I know. I'm wondering if I was wondering if they had an issue with renewing because of how crazy some things got. Because it definitely went a little further than other seasons of the Real World.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I think it went further than maybe the Real World's gone in a while. But when you look at the show on a whole, it's been fairly tame.
Yeah.
There are very few physical altercations. Stuff like that doesn't really happen that much anymore. I think it was probably, I know we're supposed to be talking about the challenge, but whatever. You can't talk about the challenge without the Real World. Explosion was, interesting but boring. Portland, there was really just, that Nia-Jordan fight. St. Thomas was one of the worst seasons I've ever seen in my entire life. So if you go back 5 or 6 years, it's really been pretty weak.
I agree. I feel like besides this season, there hasn't been a good season since the second Las Vegas.
Well, that's what I meant.
And the rest have all been weak in between. So I was excited about this season.
There's 1 or 2 gems from each season, but there would, if you go back 15 seasons ago, there used to be heavy hitters and multiple heavy hitters, 4 or 5 people that you're that guy, that girl, they're going to do damage on a challenge, they're going to do damage in their own personal lives, everything about them is a fucking mess. And now we get maybe 1 or 2 a season. Maybe.
Yeah, the seasons before used to be water cooler topics, so to speak. Now, anyone who I tell I still watch the Real World, they're kind of oh, really? Huh.
Right.
That's strange of you.
You're still going down that well?
Yeah.
No one I know watches it, with the exception of the 2 people I'm currently talking to.
Well, and we only watch it mainly to keep track of people coming in for the challenge.
Right.
You got to scout that hot new talent.
Right, but you can tell MTV's starting to get nervous, because this was the first challenge season where they got even away from fresh meat, in that they had those Are You the One mouth breathers.
Oh God, I forgot they even existed.
Right, that was this season, if you can remember. That's how much shit went on this season, that they tried to sneak a new format from under us in the challenge, and it really didn't go over that great, because the people they got were so awful.
Well, I'll say Adam and Brittany were pretty good. They can stay.
I will say you're an idiot.
Come on.
That's probably going.
I will say them 69 vertical dancing on the dance floor was a really great cut too.
Right.
If you remember that.
No,
Yes.
I do.
That was
but
great.
That was episode
How could you forget?
4. But I mean, those guys, I know you have some sort of, you're like, I don't know what it is, but I don't know if you drafted one of them or something, but they didn't do a freaking thing for me. Adam was just like a douchey bro. Brittany was like a moron. And like, they weren't that good at anything.
They got nominated off eating brownies. They were the weakest. They didn't even like go out in a flame of glory.
No, they won the brownie one. You're thinking of the other ones.
You're right. They won that one against the other week. Against the other Are You the Winners. So the only time they won, they beat other people from their mouth-breathing society, so I'm not that impressed.
Agreed.
But yeah, they beat JJ. Remember that guy?
Well, they're going to have to put...
He's a stand-up comedian.
Jesus
Didn't make a single funny comment the entire season.
Or a comment, period.
True.
I don't remember anything he ever said, or Simone, who was like a poor woman's Devin.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's actually great, and that's like the worst thing you can say about a competitor on the show.
Like, Devin is a poor woman's Devin. So to be a worse version of that is bad. I thought like maybe he was gonna be like a Kahutta in that like cut from that I'm a thin, wiry guy. I'm not that strong, but I'm like rangy and I can do some stuff. But no.
And like people think he's just goofy and underestimate him, but everyone was correct to underestimate him or estimate him correctly.
Right. Like if you have to like now looking at knowing who won and knowing who lost, that's, believe it or not, probably the weakest team that's ever been created. And this was a season full of some weak ass teams at the bottom.
Yeah. Jenna and Jay, number one weakest of all time.
See, I'm torn with saying that they're number one weakest of all time because I feel like if JJ or Simone spoke up at any point, everybody would have said, oh, no, we're keeping these idiots around.
Oh, that's true.
Because Simone versus Jenna in anything, I'll put my money on Jenna, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's fair.
And Jay versus JJ, I mean, it's going to be...
That's like a tie ball game.
It's going to be a push, and it's not going to be competitive no matter what it is, unless it's like, who can have the most tongue rings? But...
Oh my god, by the way, why does Jay still... Like, what guy still has tongue rings ever?
Especially in the age of social media, when you know, like, there's probably people on Twitter burning him left and right for that.
And he's got to stand strong. He's like, no, I'm not giving it up. I love it. And it's a neon green and it's plastic. It's not even like a semi-cool one. I don't know what a cool tongue ring would be, but it's certainly not like a neon green one.
You'd probably have to time travel back to 1998 at the very earliest to find that out. But Jesus.
Did you guys catch the hint in the beginning of the season that I guess he must have hooked up with a lot of the people from the show?
From this show?
Yeah.
That were on it?
Yeah.
Alright, I'm going through the list right now, and there's not a single girl other than Johnny I can imagine, or Brittany. Sarah knows better than that.
Yeah,
Teresa,
I hope so.
Teresa, I don't love her, but I hope she knows better than that.
I could maybe see Nani.
Yeah, that's true, because Nani just does whatever.
Yeah, and whomever, apparently, according to Teresa.
Right.
Which she doesn't deny really too much.
She normally is just like, well, yeah, you know. But I guess...
Even her. She's young, she's single.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, nobody ever throws that in the guy's face.
What's that?
I said nobody throws that in the guy competitor faces, but I guess guys aren't as vicious with their verbal attacks.
No, because women were created from a men's rib, and as a result...
inferior, according to Jordan.
And you can quote me on that. A fucking idiot.
I also want to add that we are also swamp donkeys. Please also be aware of that fact.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And I loved that during the reunion, he couldn't even define what a swamp donkey was.
See, I felt like that was a cover. I felt like everyone was probably like blasting him on Twitter being like, do you know how offensive that word is, blah, blah, blah. And so he just played dumb because that's believable that he's dumb. And he's like, oh, I don't even know what that means. I just, strung two words together. Blah, blah,
blah. So are we all in agreement that that's like the worst moment of the season, by the way?
Okay, and then on the reunion, he said, well, first of all, they caught that on, the hidden cameras. And the whole thing, that was like, so that is your excuse? That doesn't make any sense.
Especially when you said, I'll put that on tape.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can't get mad at somebody for catching what you said you have no problem with them catching. Yeah, and I get it to some extent. Yeah, you do have certain conversations made in like privileged confidence with your friends that you maybe wouldn't have with like a larger majority of people. Sure, but you still don't say. Well, one, when you already know you're on a show, you don't say quote me. Like you can record that. Maybe don't do that.
And don't think the producers of the challenge have your best interests at heart and are like, well, we don't want to paint Zach in a bad light. Like, if you say something ridiculous, it's getting on the show.
Absolutely.
So that makes me, we all agree that was the worst moment. Do we agree that maybe Zach was the most overrated coming in?
I agree. I think he thinks because he has big muscles he can do well, but like you saw it in the elimination with the hammer, obviously that's not the case.
As somebody who drafted him, I thought he was very overrated after having him.
What gets me with Zach, and this is, I think I drafted him, so this is a little bit my mistake, is I forget all of the stupid fuck-ups that he makes in every single season that he's on, and I forget when he whines and when he cries and when he tells Laurel that he thinks he's going to die, even though that woman that was infinitely more inferior than him did way better. I always forget about all of those things. I forget about Zach at the end of the season. I remember, I just look at him as a specimen, and I'm like, there's no way that this guy is not going to house the rest of these guys. And that's like the way the wrong way to look at this show.
And he's dependent on that his whole life for sure. That's why he bullies people, because no one else will stand up to him.
Right.
And everyone just assumes he's athletic, but lifting weights in a gym doesn't prepare you for the challenge.
It's like the challenge is clearly, like, there's no competition that's just strength. If it was just strength, he would have won 1,000 times over. They put you through, like, the most physically exhausting, stamina-riddling, like, processes ever nowadays. Like, everything is a grind. So, unless it's, like, literally bench pressing, I gotta remember to keep him, like, way off my draft board. Because he's gonna do nothing other than disappoint.
Yeah.
Like, now that I'm looking at him, I'm like, you don't take him over Jordan. You don't take him over Leroy. You don't take him over Bananas. You don't take him over Wes. I almost go as far as to say you don't take him over Riley, and you don't take him over CT.
Well, you don't take anyone over CT if we're talking CT here, you know.
Right.
Oof.
I know, but do we think he's done?
No, he comes back and he dedicates one to her, I think.
Yeah, but to do
that's what the producers want. I think in his actual real life, where he has emotions, he probably needs a break.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he's coming back next season. I think it's like a season away. He comes back and he just cleans house, I think.
Yeah, that would be amazing. And then donates his winnings to I forget the name. Yeah, to DM Strong.
And sadly, what gets lost in, well, I guess it doesn't get lost in the CT DM thing, is the Jemmy Knight thing.
Yeah.
She retired.
Oh, she's done?
Oh, she did?
Yeah, she retired from the challenge officially.
This is why they got to bring in the Are You the Ones, because they're just running out of players.
Yeah, but they have a whole new crop of kids from this season's Real World, which I think Sylvia or Violetta in a challenge is something I'm dying to see.
I think Sylvia from a performance standpoint, Violetta from a dramatic standpoint. Like,
oh, yeah.
What's going to happen when, like, she crosses, I don't know, Naya or, like, Camilla?
I think she'll get her ass handed to her, because I think she's used to being, like, the baddest bitch in the group. But against, like, a Camilla or a Naya, she won't stand a chance.
Mm-hmm. Those girls would destroy her.
Oh, yeah.
Do we think, like, Bruno will show up in the challenge? Because if he comes...
Bruno, like, he almost... And I don't like him at all in any facet, but I almost think Bruno needs to be on the challenge. Because he has to find a way to direct all of his rage in in a productive area where people who are tougher than him can put him in his place. So I almost want him to get on the show.
You gotta hope CT's there the year that he goes.
Thing is, you don't even need CT. I'm telling you, I take Leroy, take Bananas, take any one of these dudes. I think Bruno just needs to get his ass kicked.
Well, I agree with that, yeah.
I would love to see that.
I would pay all of the money just to watch him get beat up every week while Carla looks on.
He's already probably living in the suburbs with 3 kids with Carla though, because that was all he was about when he entire season.
Yeah, he probably is pissed at her that she's not able to have kids faster than 9 months either. That guy's a fucking caveman.
Yeah, or the other scenario is she saw the season and saw what a sicko he is and immediately broke up with him. If she's smart, I hope she did that.
I hope she's smart, but at the same time, if you can't read through the lines of what Bruno is and already not be dating him, then I think it's too late for you.
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of scary how
much of a... Do you think he would pull the wool over your eyes as a woman?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just based on the date scenes we saw with him, he would fool me. He seemed very charming, other than that one fight they had. With this very charming, happy dude.
Yeah.
Which is actually scarier that he had so two-sided. She's probably freaked out watching that season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we have to hope he's coming.
Yeah.
Because Tony isn't going to stand a chance of it with any of these guys.
He could be a good politician, though. I mean, if anybody can handle 3 girls in the same house.
Yeah, but he would fuck it up real bad. These girls aren't the kind of girls that you want to mess up that with.
Well, that's what he would end up messing up. It's he would have a great, alliance going, and he'd screw it up by sleeping with all 3 of them or something in the same night.
That said, I need to see him on it. And then Jason. Jason would fly too low under the radar. Not good for TV.
No. Unless he really played up the, I'm winning this money for my daughter bit.
That is true.
That's true. That's a good one. That's always a good one to go to.
That's true.
Madison would get eaten alive.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of fun to watch, though.
And all the vet girls would hate her.
Mm-hmm. But Zach would take her right under his big dumb wings.
Oh, God. He would. The fact that he loves Jenna this much is strange to me, because she's a nothing person, but I guess...
They're still dating, right? Isn't that what was...
Yeah. But I will say, Jenna earned the slightest. I wish there was a slighter word than slightest ounce of respect when she was able to drink that fish juice, and Jay was not.
Yeah, but she was also, barely even drinking it. She was just able to get a few more sips than him.
Right, but
and
even
he was still...
He cried.
Yeah.
So at that moment, do we think that's TJ's most disappointing moment in challenge history?
I rewound that part about 100 times because I don't think I've ever seen... I just wish they'd get TJ on these reunions. They're really missing out on that. I'd love to hear him just get honest. With, you're a piece of garbage. You're a piece of shit. Bananas, for a fact you would have voted them in. I wish he would just keep it real.
I think he must have it in his contract or something to hide him, because you can tell by the way they talk about him or when they leave that they must hang out with him otherwise.
I want a TJ Tells All special where he gets the behind the scenes scoop.
Jesus, he needs at least. At the very least that. But my dream would be every reunion or even after the reunion for him to just be TJ Tells All after each season. Let all those people have their reunion and say what they want to say, and then just let TJ get real. That dude's a bitch. That girl's awesome. That dude sucks.
We all know Leroy would be his favorite, right? Has to be.
Would be what?
Would be his favorite?
Well, Leroy's everyone's favorite.
Yeah, he's the best guy ever.
Because he's just... he's not a fucking, like, sociopath.
Mhm. And he's also, I believe he's still a garbage man when he goes home.
Oh,
He's
no,
just a real regular dude.
He retired. Not retired. But he's no longer a garbage man. He's now a personal trainer.
Oh, cool. Good for him.
I did some deep web search on him.
Nice.
But yeah, he's just like a reasonable person. And when the house turned upside down on Sarah, and that, I guess it was the second to last episode, he was pretty much the only person kind of not saying a whole lot. He was like, yeah, this sucks, but, like, it's a game, so...
Well, yeah, he made the best point to Nia when he's like, you lost it. He's like, every girl made it further than you did. So what are you getting mad about?
Exactly. Yeah. And she really had nothing to say back to that, which I thought was pretty great. But
I think the only shortcoming for Leroy is that he legit just wants to play, like, sports with legit rules.
And that's not this game.
Right. Like, he does not want to worry about alliances. Like, he's mad at Wes for pulling a fast one on him. Because he's like, I just thought we were playing legit.
But what the one thing that does strike me about Leroy is I'm like, that makes me a little worrisome for his future is his blind spot for Bananas. I get that they're friends, and I don't doubt that they aren't really friends outside of the game, but that dude does not have your back like he'd have his.
But doesn't everybody have a blind spot for Bananas?
I know, it's ridiculous.
I don't understand how anymore. The guy's won, 5 of these things?
And yet they seem to think he's doing something different than what Wes is doing, or that what Sarah pulled was like some jerk move.
It's like, you want to party with Bananas, and Bananas does the same shit as Wes, but you don't want to be anywhere near Wes, because Wes would be so fucking annoying. They do the exact same thing, though. I don't get why everyone wants to, like, throw Wes, like down the river, but they're all like, Bananas is great. I'm like, he's just as manipulative.
Yeah.
Wes is at least more upfront about it.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Which I respect.
But I think his, like, air of superiority probably just turns people right the hell off.
That's true.
That's fake superiority. I loved when they did that special where they showed all the fake words he makes up trying to sound smart.
Right. Because he owns 37 businesses.
And a monster truck.
And a monster truck?
Yeah.
I love him.
But
I actually really do.
I would want to spend an hour, like, I'd love to hang out with him. Well, I'd love to hang out with most of these people. But I definitely would want to hang out with to see, like, what his reality is.
So,
like, what is your world?
He'd probably give you, like, business advice and give you tips on stocks and then just immediately go home with whatever girl is at the bar. Like, I feel like he's just a baller in every way. He's like the John Hamm of reality television.
Only without any of the appearance or attractive qualities of any
charisma. The ginger.
Do we rank that moment where he confuses Leroy as maybe the best, most manipulative moment in the season?
Oh, when Leroy had the vote.
Yeah.
And he just basically made it seem like a bad thing that he had the vote.
Yeah. I mean, Leroy looked like he got legit just Jedi mind tricked. He was like, wait, it's almost as if you're the one with the power. That was amazing to me, I thought.
Yeah, I didn't love that. But speaking of manipulation, should we talk about the Sarah thing? Because I never thought I would be a Sarah defender, but I'm totally on her side with this.
I think there's being on Sarah's side, and then there's being wrong. And that's just that. Like, there's no gray area here. Sarah was right. Everyone was wrong.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree.
I think Sarah made, like, the best move she could have made at the absolute best time she could have made it. So how could you ever fault somebody in a game, mind you, for doing exactly what was best for her?
Well, this is...
And Johnny would have done the exact same thing if the situation was reversed.
And when you
also...
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, and he did do the exact same thing the week before when he manipulated to get Leroy, his supposed best friend, voted in.
Right.
Like, if you do that the week before, you can't get mad when a semi-good friend votes you in the next week.
Right.
Then, like, you started this thing of anything goes.
Right.
And, like, vote with whoever in.
Well, the thing is, because there was no blood on his hands when he manipulated Leroy, and he said, I'm not going to say him, but if you want to, I think that's a good move. And, like, that's, now we're, like, splitting hairs. So it's like, you create the situation, but you're not the one to say, but you're not the one to actually say the name, so you're somehow in the clear. Meanwhile, I think what Sarah did was more honest, because she was like, this is what I'm doing, and I would have never expected it from her.
But this is why I like Wes. Wes defended her. Wes was like, that was a great move. Because he just realizes that's just part of the game.
And when you look at how that game played out, look at what having those layups did for them. That guaranteed, that just took a team right off the board.
Mm-hmm.
Because God forbid you had one of those other teams in there from the jump. Maybe they don't run. Because, I mean, Sarah and Jordan won by, what, like 5 minutes, maybe? Like, it was really close at the end. So, put another strong team in there. And when you consider the way they start, like the order that they started in, like, Jay and Jenna would have been the second group instead of the third group. Or they would have been, like, make some other team the second group. That other team would have 100% caught them. Because that other team would have been Bananas and Nani. So, like, there's no questions asked. That was the right move to make.
So, do we give Sarah the MVP here for the season?
I actually might.
If you remove that final move, I don't know if I give it to her, but because of that final move, you almost have to give it to her.
Well, I mean, how are we defining most valuable?
Then I might say Leroy and Naya, because they came back from a million different eliminations and, like, killed it in all of them.
Right.
Well, I'm almost tempted to say just Leroy because he helped keep Naya on target while also just dominating the eliminations. But they failed a lot of challenges, which is why they ended up in so many eliminations.
That's true, but how many of those challenges did he fail?
Yeah, I might give it to Leroy.
I would say, like, because that's the thing, you like just like most sports, you can't look at who won the championship as who's the most valuable player. Like, it's a regular season award, I think, and if we're treating it as such, I think that Leroy is the most valuable, and I think that makes Sarah a finalist in the underrated category by virtue of the fact that whoever saw Sarah doing anything, I never did.
Yeah.
And then she went and took her one spot to make probably the best voting situation I've ever seen on the show. And right there, she went from being just some girl who's playing the game, having fun, to, like, the girl to beat. So...
And hopefully now that she's won, she just will never come back, because I still find her to be the most annoying person on the history of the show. She's
so... I gave her respect for the last 3 weeks of that show, but I've only liked her for 3 weeks of the show. She's been on about 8 seasons. So I liked you 3 episodes out of about 60. So calm down, go away, never come back again, so I can remember you this way.
I hate that she got that puzzle at the end pretty quickly and was going against other teams that were just not good at puzzles, because it just feeds into the Sarah's great at puzzles myth that isn't even a thing.
Yeah, it's not that she's this genius, it's just that she's not dumb as rocks like most of the contestants.
Right. And it's like, you're not good at puzzles, Sarah, so much as you're better at puzzles than everyone else and you like them.
Right.
Like, if you, like, I'm not the fastest, like, guy in Astoria, but if you put me in a race with, like, 2 400-pound guys, I'm gonna look pretty great. You know, like, it's all perspective. Like, she might be decent, but, you know, get out of here.
Well, it's like we said before about, like, Zach just lifts weights to get ready for the thing. She pretty much just does crosswords, right? So she's the person who's only working on puzzles to prepare for the show.
And, like, even during the trivia challenge, she kept, like, mouthing all the answers, thinking, like, it was making her look so smart. Mm-hmm. But everyone watching at home knew those answers. Like, they're not difficult questions.
Yeah. the difficult part is that you're stressed out.
The question was literally like, where was like, you know, the Spanish Civil War fought, and the answer was Spain. Like they're not. No one's impressed that you know these answers.
Right. And I'm sorry, basic spelling is just spelling. So if you get a spelling answer right, like, shut up.
Yeah.
I hate her.
I know. I said one nice thing about her, and now I'm back into a diatribe about hating her.
Yeah, because you can't talk about her for that long without like just hating everything that comes out of her mouth.
I was going to say, we just swung the pendulum from trying to put her as the most underrated player of the season,
But
and yet
for this season, she was the most underrated. But go away and never come back, or I'll rescind what I just said.
So is she the most?
Hear me, Sarah?
Is she the most loathsome one on the show too? Then?
No, loathsome. Come on, you got Zach in there.
That's Zach.
Big woman hating Zach. Get out of here.
I want Zach to keep coming back just so I can see him get beat by people that look like they should not be beating him.
Also, if we're gonna say loathsome, you gotta throw Nia in there.
Yeah.
She went off the rails in a way that I still don't think she understands and is remotely apologetic for.
Well, no, because she thinks you can just say I'm sorry. Like, you can't just keep saying I'm sorry and doing things.
Right, and like, you want to insult somebody's manhood, sure, but once you start like now burning gender identity and sexuality and just you can't just get nuclear every time you're upset.
And claiming that you represent.
Because if you get nuclear every time and then like while getting nuclear you're like, whatever, I'm friends with all the gay people, they love me. That's like fucking a terrible thing to say. All gay people love you? You're just lumping them all in there? Get out of here, dude.
I agree, but I didn't expect them to kick her off. I didn't think her like being physical was really that bad.
I think what they're doing is they're just saying like, if it went the other way, Jordan would have been gone.
Which by the way, Jordan said out loud, which I don't know if he meant to make it happen, but if he did.
I don't think he meant to make it happen. I think he was just kind of saying it, and that's where I was coming from, seeing that happen. Like, if he was the same exact way she was to him, he would be gone. And they would have one of those, like, disclaimers. If you or anybody you know has been touched by a member of the opposite sex in a fashion that you don't want, call this like MTV number. You know how they do that? Like, that would have totally happened.
I guess I was surprised because on their season together, I felt like she was way worse. She like hit him with a lamp and whatnot.
Right.
And was actually sexually harassing him like for like an hour straight.
But if it's one thing we do know, it's that MTV plays fast and loose with their kickoff rules.
That's true.
It's like some seasons they're like, you touch anybody, you're out. Then other seasons they let a little bit of touching happen, and then
there's seasons where somebody does something that they can't even show on TV, and yet he still gets to stay in the house.
And then they let you vote. And then there's all seasons where you have people like Bruno who, instead of hitting people, just scare them within an inch of their life by throwing things and, you know, peacocking. But, like, you can't get kicked off for peacocking, which I think is just as bad.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. Because, like, when he was throwing the bench and stuff, if that hit Sylvia, she would have a serious injury.
And he even said, he's like, I know I can't hit a girl, so I just want to scare her. Like, what are you?
Yeah.
Freddy fucking Krueger, you monster. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, who does that? And much less who says it.
Yeah, like, as you're saying that out loud, you should be, like, have a realization, like, oh, that's actually terrible, and I should not do that.
Right.
I should visit a psychiatrist.
Right, and even if, like, you do that and you know you do it, maybe don't, like, never voice it. Definitely feel bad about it. Keep that shit to yourself. Be a little embarrassed, you know? Don't
say it on national television.
Right, because now you're coming into the challenge next season, hopefully. I pray to God. And someone's gonna hurt you in a way that I will, like, love so much.
Yeah.
But now I feel like, so do we have to start watching Are You the One? Is that, like, do we have to do that, or?
No.
Full disclosure, I watched it last season. And I want to say, opportunity, but we're all doing a podcast about the challenge right now, so I feel like we're in a no judgment zone.
Oh, well, I mean, that's a fair point. I mean, there's probably stuff I watch that I don't even tell people about that, whatever. I think it's fine.
I mean, I guess I'm going to say, no, we don't have to watch it, but I'm probably going to have to watch it if they're going to keep bringing those people in.
I wish we could get some inside intel to know if we need to watch or not.
Right, but it's tough to tell because, they rushed this season. Normally you get your real world ended 2-3 weeks ago, and then your challenge starts up a month from, probably a week from now. So we would have had a nice little spring challenge that would have taken us from April through June, and then by that point we'd be ready with the new real world season in the late summer. But now it's all fucked up.
Now it's why go on?
Right.
You know what might be an option, though, is they might bring in some of those skeletons, too.
Oh, yeah. I would be okay with that.
I'd be fine with that, because, I hated free agent. I hated fresh meat until I learned to be okay with it. I hated Are You the One until I could tolerate Adam and Brittany to a certain extent. So if they do it, I'll hate it for a day, and then I'll be okay.
I mean, that could be the new way that they just double their draft pool.
Well, it gives them a much larger pool. And you got to remember, they're still they picked Thomas and Haley from Explosions for this season of the challenge.
Right.
2 of the weak sauces characters around.
Right.
That means we still have Corey, Dickhead Corey. We still have also Jay and Jenna, but who cares? Jenna was an explosioner, as was Haley.
Yeah, so was Haley.
If they're open to getting the explosion people, then they'll definitely get skeletons.
Yeah.
In which case, I think that one of Tony's, his ex-girlfriend, his crazy, all his girlfriends are crazy, but the crazy ex-girlfriend that wore the same dress for 4 days straight.
Oh, the Queen, I believe she was.
Yeah, Queen.
Get her in there.
Queen is going to be awesome on that show.
Oh my gosh,
I want his brother on there too, though, even though he wasn't technically a skeleton.
His brother. Okay.
That's a skeleton, I thought. Oh, never mind. No, I'm thinking of
Yeah, he just came to visit, I think.
Yeah. What if they got Jason's dad? Oh my god. He'd be like the Cyrus with the knee braces the whole time and can't do anything.
Cyrus couldn't do anything though when he first started. He got by on personality.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And how could we freaking Brian. Remember Brian from Explosions? What's her name? Jenny's boyfriend?
Oh, he was such a weirdo.
He's a walking lunatic.
He'd be like the new Abram. Just this weirdo that thinks he's sensitive, and deep, but he's not in any way.
They got to get that guy on this show. I'm about to start. I would go as far as to create an online petition to get that guy on the show.
But I want him paired with Jenny because she made for great television as well.
Oh my god.
I know she was no fan fave, but I really loved her.
Yep. I love that they broke up over her sex drive. And
yeah.
Wait, what is this? I never heard this.
You never watched Explosion?
I did, but I don't remember.
You don't? Okay. You don't remember Brian and Jenny?
Yeah.
No, so you're saying yeah. I feel like you'd be yeah.
Jenny was a fake Robin.
Oh, yep, Robin 2.0.
Robin 2.0.
Okay. Yeah, okay. And he was kind of the slow. He thought he was saying really wise things.
Yeah, he thought he was a deep dude, but he was not at all, and it really played great. But I also took issue with how quickly the originals called themselves originals and ostracized the Exes. That I thought was lame.
Yeah.
But I probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah, well, I forget, did the exes all come at once? They did, right?
They did all come at once, and I think they all stayed for a while, with the exception of Lauren, because she got pregnant, and he was like, even though you were there for me, I had my scare, that's why I'm not going to be there for you.
Oh, I forgot. Oh my god, he's the worst. I forgot how bad he was.
Like, his logic was, oh wait, you were there with me through a pregnancy scare that I had with another girl that was not you. So, of course I'm not going to be there for you.
Yeah.
Because that sucked.
And not only was it with another girl, it was a girl that he had cheated on her with.
Yeah.
And then this was like his own. No, it wasn't his baby, but it was a guy that she'd been with while they were together.
But they were no longer together.
Yeah.
So his was like an infidelity-based situation that she like worked with him through, and hers was just like, they're friends now and this happened, and he was like, I will not be there for you.
Like, he refused. Not just like, when I want to finish the real world, but then I'll come home and help you out.
No.
Like, I refuse in any way to even consider supporting you through this.
Because he's like, I know how hard that was for you, so fuck it.
All right, so speaking of cheaters, I mean, we had a few on this season, or some issues with cheaters, I guess you should say. The one thing I can never get is why anybody argued on Avery's side.
I mean, we don't know. I mean, you can all it said was she was caught in situations that looked bad. Anyone can get in situations that look bad.
Multiple times with the guy she's now dating. That was the key point.
Yeah.
And even if, all right, let's say she didn't cheat, but let's say that I still think he has every right to say that's enough for him to break up with her. And if they broke up, why does she still get mad at Nani for hooking up with him after they broke up?
No, I agree with that. She had no leg to stand on with that.
Right. And also, like, you gotta think which I guess you can't do if you're on these shows, but let's think rationally for like 6 seconds. If you are in a relationship and your significant other is upset by your behavior that is questionable, that you agree is questionable and it looks shady but it isn't, maybe don't keep doing those things.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you can't, if it's clear, because then you really don't have a leg to stand on. If that said person is like, look, I know you said you're not doing anything, but I really don't like that, you would probably say, hey, you know what? Maybe I'll stop being such a shade monster. But she's like, whatever, I'm going to keep doing me. And then he breaks up with her because he can't handle that. That's okay. Why is she upset?
Oh, and then the other smoking gun was that it was her friends who told him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it was on one of the after show specials. They were talking about it.
So it's like, why?
Yeah, I guess she's looking pretty bad. I take Mac for defense maybe a little bit. But at the same time, she's kind of like this hot, exotic girl, and Johnny is dumb as a bag of rocks, so, like, I don't know.
I think a little bit for her is, like, how can this guy, like, break up with me?
Well, yeah.
I'm sure that's part of it, but it's coming out a different way. And to some extent, I asked that same question. How could that guy break up with her? But Johnny's got balls.
Well, that's what makes me like him a lot more, though.
Yeah.
Well, also, now that he's, not famous, but I'm sure when he goes out, he has a lot more chance of, like, hooking up with randos.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
It's helpful.
And isn't that what it's all about? Doing appearances and getting them randos?
Well, yeah. Obviously.
So I guess... Go ahead. No, you go. You got it.
No, I won't.
Well, that was going to lead me down the route of bringing up Nani. I know we touched on it before, but is she maybe treated the worst of anybody on the show? Other than John A. getting individually treated badly by Zach, but by, like, the collective group of the show, who gets it the worst? I would say Nani.
I feel like she's generally well liked, though.
I don't think she gets it the worst, like, from a collective standpoint, because there's normally, like, 2 or 3 people out to get her. Like, nobody likes Wes.
Or, like, no one likes Cara Maria.
No one, like, oh my god.
Yeah, what is the deal with that? She's not even like...
that season when Cara Maria showed up, like, after someone got eliminated or something. And
it was just crickets.
They were like, there was crickets and groans, and it was, like, the best thing I've ever seen.
It was so bad, I hated it.
I like her as a competitor, too.
Yeah, but I hate her as a person, I think.
For what reason?
I feel like she's different to be different.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, look at these people on this show.
Look, I like my meatheads like my meatheads, and I like my airheads like my airheads. Don't try to give me anything different.
I feel like she got a bad rep. Like, one day Johnny Bananas was just like, she's not cool, and then it just like, he had spoken, and that was it.
Well, she's.
I don't know how he has this power. I hate it.
I think she's still going through, like, some middle school stuff. Like, I think a lot of how they treat her on the challenge is a lot of how she was treated prior. And that should make me have a little bit of sympathy for her. But I don't. I just don't like her.
Wouldn't the best team be Cara Maria and Sarah?
That, Sarah Maria, I would put a goddamn bullet in my head. I don't think I'd even be able to watch it.
I would cancel my cable subscription just so I wouldn't accidentally watch it.
I would cancel my cable subscription. I would delete the MTV app from my phone. I'd probably firewall the website. Yeah, I'd probably get rid of the internet too, just to be on the safe side.
You know how many? You know how many confessionals they'd have crying?
Stop listening to music lest it remind me of music television. I would hate that so hard.
I want to see it now. I need to see that team up.
No, I would start an angry letter writing campaign to MTV.
Oh, yeah.
And troll their Twitter account and any other online accounts they
I'd
have.
probably go to the Viacom offices directly in Midtown Manhattan and, like, wait outside. No, I'd go in. I'd do anything. No, that can't happen. That'd be it for me. I'd probably just be done with TV too.
Just all media together, you're just done.
I would read more.
It actually might be good for us.
You know what? You have a point. I would get so much more done. I'd be healthier. I'd definitely go to the gym at least 1 hour more weekly. God, I don't want that to happen. Let's talk about something else.
All right. So we're labeled Leroy as the MVP. I'm not sure if it's consensus, but it's pretty close to consensus. Who is the most? I still think just physically impressive to me, and I don't know if you guys agree, is Jordan, just because he has one hand.
I don't know, because I feel like he's got one hand, but he's also I don't know. I feel like I almost don't want to use his one-handedness as a crutch anymore. If that makes sense.
But it's not like the one-handedness is going away.
I know it's not, but it's clearly he's lived a whole life without it, so to him he knows nothing else.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this season I felt showcased it a little more, with the challenge where they had to lift up that super heavy plank or whatever. So
that looked like a bitch.
Yeah, that looked awful, and that, I think, was one where it was definitely a big handicap for him.
Yeah.
I feel like this season I began to understand Jordan a little bit more. I still don't think I'd ever want to hang out with him, but...
Oh, I know I wouldn't.
But I understand why he's probably so nuts, is because he's probably thinking in his head, I can do all this stuff with one hand. You guys all have two, so none of you should give up on anything.
Yeah, and it's also if you watched his season, his dad definitely did a number on him from a psychological standpoint.
Oh, yeah.
He's got big daddy issues and, feeling the need to overcompensate.
Right.
So who would you say was physically the most impressive? Would you go Leroy again?
I don't know.
It's hard to say.
That's really, now, obviously, this is all subjective, but I feel like there's certain things you can have an objective conversation about. I don't know that that's one of them. Because, like, CT didn't even get to stay in the house for more than 3 episodes.
There's 2 moments with Leroy that stick out in my head, though. That upside-down log rope thing that he did.
Oh, my God. He did that like that's how he sleeps.
Right.
I thought it was, like, special effects. I was like, there's no way that.
You guys brought in the Matrix people for this?
That was as, like, freakish to me as when, what's that dude used to just climb up ladders and nets and stuff?
Oh, Alton?
Alton. Oh, my God. That dude used to climb stuff. Like, that's just, like, how he got places. But yeah, Leroy killed that. And also just, like, I mean, in most eliminations, he just destroyed the guy he was competing with. Like, they left either with, like, collapsed lungs or broken ribs or whatever.
Right, and Leroy also was the only person to make it down those ropes from the skyscraper.
Oh, yeah. His girl Naya effed that up hard for them, though.
Yeah.
She did that a lot this season when she just fell into the water, all that stuff.
Or just refused to, when she refused to get up.
Yeah.
So, if we're saying physically most impressive, I mean, if you want to give it to Leroy or Jordan, I wouldn't really complain too much. I just don't think, like, anybody got too much of a, there was no, like, Emily this season where, like, everything Emily does, it's like, oh, wow. Emily is better than, or Laurel.
Can we get Emily and Laurel on a season together? Can we have that happen?
Jesus. Oh my God.
It wouldn't even be a show because they would just show up and win.
Well, no, not on the same team.
You almost have to, like, you gotta take both of them and you have to put them on, like, opposing teams. Like, take Emily and CT as, like, captains of one team, and then, like, Laurel and Bananas, because I'm pretty sure they don't like each other, and put them on another team, and just, like, watch what happens.
Yeah, I like it.
Or you just flip those 4 people any way you want, because it's, like, it's a combination of politics and just brute being better at stuff than people.
Yeah.
But on the
Laura would need Johnny's politics, because she's not a likable person.
No, she's not at all.
Mm-mm.
And we follow each other on Twitter, so for me to say that...
She followed you back?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Ooh.
I forgot to put this person in the ranking of possibly, like, the most loathsome on the season, was possibly Teresa.
Yo, Teresa, like, each season gets a little shittier.
She allows more of it to come out, like when I think she's hiding a lot of times. And now it's, like, almost all out there where she just doesn't care. Because even at the reunion, Nani's like, look, I just wanted us to apologize and just put it behind us. And she's like, no, I don't want to do that. It's like,
right.
What?
Like, 3 or 4 seasons ago, I was, like, pretty into Teresa from an athletic standpoint, from other standpoints. And now, I just, like, she just got such a permanent bitch face. So, like, I can't get past that.
If you're charting the ranking of Teresa, her high point was right when she played that strip basketball game.
Oh, my God.
And she won, right? Didn't she win? And then from there, it just went down.
And she beat CT, right?
Yeah. And it just went down from there. It's never gone higher than that.
She did do really well athletically, though, this season. You have to give her that.
Well, she's always good at it, yeah.
She's probably the top athlete on the girls' side this season. Her, followed by Nani, and everybody else is just not that great.
Right.
It was weak, though. That's why it, like, kind of stunk that there was no Emily or Laurel, because there weren't very many balanced teams. Like, you like, if you're Jemmy and Knight, I'm sorry. R.I.P. Knight, but you guys are going nowhere.
Well, I think more so than any other season, this season was really controlled by the politics, and then obviously the surprise of Exile played a huge role into the ending of this season.
It did, but all Exile did really was allow for, like, that freakish elimination that would happen to a strong team early on, not to count for that much. I'm almost, because, like, you were never going to run the table in the Exile from being, like, a losery team. Like, Dustin and Jess, or, like, JJ and Simone, they were never going to win, like, multiple exiles on a week-to-week basis to get back in. The only teams that were going to do that were good teams.
You want to know how I know Dustin and Jess suck? Because I completely forgot they were on this season.
Yeah.
And I'm a big Zito fan, but
I'm a Zito guy, but I think more as a guy and less as a competitor.
Yeah.
Like, to that.
He's like an ace in that respect for me. Like, I liked Ace a lot as a dude from Real World Paris.
Mm-hmm.
But every time he showed up on the challenges, he just didn't quite bring it.
Yeah, I think if you look at the results of everything, it all kind of stemmed from who played the best political game. Because had there not been Exile, West was pretty much in the driver's seat to take this whole thing, right? By the end of it. And then, because Exile happened, you get Johnny coming back, but whoever played those two sides, Sarah, ends up getting the best hand, right? So it was really just who played the best politics, I felt.
Yeah. The only problem with her politics is it's great that she won because now if she comes back, no one's going to trust her word.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they'll trust Johnny in a heartbeat.
Yeah, which makes no sense.
I know, it's bizarre.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess in the end, I'm happy she won because she probably won't come back again.
Right.
Because now she's engaged, so she can move on.
And hopefully Kai, Maria, and Abram are still together so we don't get that nightmare scenario.
Okay.
But if we had anything we wanted to see next season, what would you guys? What is the one thing you want to see next season?
Like a theme for this season?
Theme, players, whether you prefer teams, pairs.
I don't know what I want, whether teams or pairs, because MTV usually gives me what I want before I know I want it. But I know for sure I want to see a stronger depth chart on the girls' side. I need to see Camilla back. I need Emily back. I need Laurel back. At least two of those three.
Yeah, I agree.
Because we can't have John A. sticking around for 9 weeks. You know, we can't have Jenna.
Also, Zach said. IRL.
We can't have Jenna sticking around for that long. Like, we need the final couple weeks to really be top competitors. People who could actually, hold their weight.
Can we get Coral back, maybe?
What's that?
Can we get Coral back, maybe?
Nah, come on. Coral's about 47,000 years old. Coral is my mom. but
actually, how old can she be? Because Mike the Miz is still professional wrestling. They had to be around the same age on their season. He just kind of looked matronly.
That's true. We all have technology. I'm gonna get to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
That was Real World Season 10.
Yeah, we can always discuss this on the next one.
No, I'm gonna find out right this minute. Because this is gonna drive me crazy otherwise.
I think I prefer the big teams just because I think it leads to better political situations going on in the background.
Coral is 36 years old.
She can still hang then.
She's only 5 years older than me?
Oh, you're so old. Oh my god. What a big deal.
Shut up. Wow.
Honestly, if you told me she was 56, I would have believed it too. So, yeah.
Yes.
That could be a theme, like in old mixed with the young, like Coral and Jenna. Coral would murder her.
Like pair a vet with like a super old vet with like a super young person.
You're talking about you're pretty much talking about like the fairly odd couples or something pretty much of the just make the most odd couples you can.
So you'd have like Mark Long with like, I don't know.
JJ from Are You the One?
Mark would blow his brains out.
Oh yeah.
Because I listen to podcasts of that dude, and he is still a hardcore beast of a man for however the hell old he is. He's super old.
I think just for humor level, you have to put Robin 1.0 and Robin 2.0 together.
Oh, Jenny and Robin. They'd either love each other or one of them would be dead.
That would be hilarious just watching that because Robin.
First night they'd be chain smoking together, getting drunk, obsessed. By the end of the week they'd be screaming at each other. It'd be great.
It'd be great. Perfect TV.
And Mark Long is 43.
He's talking about coming back.
Well, he could probably still crush these young bucks.
I actually thought he'd be a lot older than that.
Well, I think, yeah, it's true. Because that was a minute ago. I think what we really need more than anything is for them to just resurrect Road Rules. Come on. Because these days, with how competitive the challenges have gotten, we need to get some people who have, like, done some real shit.
Yeah, I agree. Bring the Road Rules back.
Are you the one sitting around doing whatever they do on that show I don't watch? or these real world people just going to clubs every night? I need at least half the talent pool to come from, like, actual competition.
I wonder if they think, like, Road Rules and then the challenge kind of cannibalize each other because they're both kind of doing challenges and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
I see that point. I was thinking that too.
I think also, like, Road Rules came before a lot of these, like, amazing, racy, Survivor-style reality shows. So now I guess they feel like, well, the market's flooded with shows like that. But I think there's still a way to give you those types of competition. And remember when Road Rules and Real World would cross over for, like, those 2 episodes?
Oh, yeah, those were amazing.
Yeah, I just had a great idea. You put the skeletons on the Road Rules, and you put the real people in the real world, and then they show up at the end of the season after they're done with their Road Rules trip. So they're all best friends, all the skeletons, without knowing why they're best friends.
Oh.
Okay, I see. Or enemies that they hate each other.
Right, yeah.
Because that would happen.
Either way, it's just like 2 different groups having experiences, but they're tied to each other, and they meet at the end and have to live like 2 weeks together.
Well, because that's the thing. It's like it's clear that, like, MTV is swimming in the same casting pool for all of these shows. So why not, like, take the most, like, some of the more alpha, crazy folk and put them on, like, something competitive based? I don't know. I just need Road Rules back because it was the best.
Yeah, and it's also perfect for off-season of the challenge.
Right, because look at where we are right now. We got nothing. Is Are You the One on? I don't even know.
I actually think there was a second season, which
I just don't know when it was on. Like,
yeah.
Because I only watch MTV Tuesdays between 10 and 11.
If you get a chance, you guys should YouTube some of the challenges from Are You the One, though? Because,
There's
I mean,
challenges
they're
on
basically
it?
not. There are, but they're, like, not challenges. They're, like, one was actually, I think, like, an egg on a spoon race. Like, because the prize was so big, the budget for the challenges must have been so low. Like, one was like, we're gonna, give quotes from the girls, and the guys have to guess who said what. Like, so you had a good point where they're not prepared for the challenge at all.
Like, we're not getting these people ready for the real. I was about to say for the challenge world. So we gotta do that. We gotta do right by our people. We gotta do right by our fans. We gotta get these people competing more. That's all. That's all I ask. So what do I want to see next season? I want to see more competition. I want to see some like real, like actually good at stuff girls back, because when you have Sarah rising to the top and Teresa and Naya being her only real competition, but there's like 10 plus teams, that's really weak.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I think next season make the girls strong again.
There's 12 teams, so 12 girls. 4 of them had a shot at doing anything. Maybe Avery at that 5th spot.
And she's not even a good competitor.
Who?
I'm saying Avery's not even a good competitor. That's the thing.
No.
Right. I think she should be better than she is, though.
I also think Brittany may have stood a chance.
Brittany maybe stood a chance, but I'm never going to like her, so I can't even say that I agree. And you're right, but I just won't ever be able to say it, which is unfortunate.
Oh, and
The only time I like her is when she's vertical 69ing on the dance floor.
That's not how you dance.
Oh, that was amazing.
Alright, so we want some of the classics back, and we need some better fresh meat, pretty much, to get tossed back in the draft
Right,
bowl.
like, don't give me any more of this Are You the One shit. Because if you're going this far to the well, like, get these people ready, number one. And number two, do whatever the hell you want after that, because whatever the twist is, I'm into it. I always am.
Sounds good to me. I think they need to maintain this exile thing somehow. Maybe mix it up how you do it, but maintain it in some fashion.
It's nice because it keeps people watching, and they probably will keep it because it's good web traffic for their website, but if they get rid of it for something better, I'm cool with that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Or if they go the other way and up the stakes and make the exile challenges insanely difficult. So, like,
Right.
you know that if someone gets back, they crawled and fought their way back. Like, they actually deserve to be there.
Right.
I kind of like that idea, too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, guess it was a good season, right? I liked it. I enjoyed it. Better than I thought the time slot it deserved, you know?
Well, you know, when you got two people who die, you kind of got to bury it a little.
Right. Fair enough. I guess we'll wait to hear some rumors, and the minute we do, we can begin to hypothesize what we think is going to happen next season.
Yeah.
It's a fair point.
All right, guys.
All right. Well, thanks, Cargo.
Well, not just me. I guess Russ is here, too, so you can thank him, too.
Thank you, Ross.
Thanks, guys.
Don't do me any favors.
All right. See you guys later.
Okay, bye.
Lates.